So I'm Hamp Dellinger. I'm the head of the Office of Special Counsel. I've got a case still pending, and so I typically would not say a lot about an ongoing legal matter, but because of the interest in my case and also in work I'm doing as special counsel, which I'm grateful to be able to do, I did want to make myself available to answer a few questions. If you have them, I would like to say a few things at the outset. First, I know it's clear that the president's effort to remove me violated a law, and the government admitted as much today. I believe that the law is constitutional, and it should go without saying at this point what I'm going to say next, but I want to make it clear. As a public official and as an American, I'm going to obey the ultimate ruling in my case. Whether I agree with it or not, that's what Americans do. We obey the law, and we obey court decisions about the law. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to make clear is, this is not personal. When a president succeeds, America succeeds. And I want every president, including this president, to succeed. And part of my job, as given to me by Congress, is when the president issues a lawful order, it is the obligation of federal employees to comply with that order, to effectuate that order. In instances where there is a direction within the executive branch by someone in an agency to do something unlawful, Congress has said the best course is for that employee to be able to come to someone outside the agency, someone independent. And that is so often my office, the Office of Special Counsel. And if a whistleblower is retaliated against for speaking up about a violation of law, again, Congress decided that it made sense, and I think it makes perfect sense. I agree with Congress that there ought to be someone independent outside the agency who can assess the situation and see if the employee has been retaliated against. The brave whistleblower has been retaliated against, and then I've got the opportunity to go to someone else, the Merit Systems Protection Board, and ask if they will do something to make that employee whole. And often, we are able to reach an agreement with the agency and point out how this brave whistleblower was mistreated, and we are asking the agency to voluntarily do the right thing. And to the agency's credit, that often happens. But if I don't have independence, if I can be removed for no good reason, federal employees are going to have no good reason to come to me. The last thing I want to say is there's been a lot of discussion about federal employees recently, and I want it to be clear to all Americans, but also to people who have recently come in to the executive branch, who federal employees are and what their mindset is, because I've worked with them day in and day out. And I can tell you, first of all, the overwhelming majority of federal employees want to help a president, any president, execute on their lawful agenda. Federal employees are rule followers. Federal employees also, in the main, have ties to the military. 30% of the 2 million plus federal employees are military veterans. 400,000 federal employees seek to assist military veterans and their families by working for the Veterans Administration. 200,000 federal employees also serve in the National Guard and the military reserves, willing to leave their civilian jobs and put their lives on the line. So when federal employees are disrespected and mistreated, which has too often been happening, in my estimation of late, you are disrespecting and mistreating veterans. You are undercutting the military. We've got 800,000 civilian employees working for the Department of Defense. And so I just hope folks understand who federal employees are. They are military veterans. They're seeking to help the military. They're seeking to help veterans and their families. And much of our work is focused on making services for veterans better and of a higher quality. And that's why I'll just speak briefly to what we've done on behalf of an initial group of federal employees, including some who work for the Department of Veterans Affairs, which is we believed that this mass firing of probationary employees, based on the first complaints that we received about it, is in violation of the law. And I couldn't make a final decision on that. What I could do is go to the Merit Systems Protection Board and ask them to rule about whether we've got a case or not. And no final decision has been made by the MSPB, I recognize that. But in a very important ruling last night, one of the board members, Raymond Lamone, agreed that there is enough to be concerned about a violation of law related to these mass firings, that they have been stopped. And I just want to make this point, based on everything I know, the 6 employees that we went to the Merit Systems Protection Board on behalf of are not unique. Their situation, based on everything I've seen so far, is all too typical. And that is why I felt like I had no choice but to seek some type of relief on their behalf, but I think they're just the first of many.
I wanted to ask about that ruling last night, and you suggested in your statement that you're going to be seeking broader relief for more of the fired probationary employees. What exactly would that look like, your request look like, for all of the employees who were fired, and what do you believe could happen to your request if you are removed from office?
Well, I can't say what the next person will do, but I will say it's really important that the types of decisions I'm making now are made by someone who doesn't have to worry whether they guess wrong or guess right about what the president wants with regard to federal employees. And on the issue of what might happen next, I am immediately after this going to go to my office and continue working with my colleagues to think through the available remedies and have them be as broad as possible, if and only if the facts in the law would justify it. So we believed it was clear that these initial firings that we looked at had a legal and factual basis to believe that they were unlawful, and I felt like I have a legal duty to try to do something about it. But again, all I could do is to ask the Merit Systems Protection Board to take action, and I'm very, very grateful that they did.
Hampton, do you think that you are the poster child now for opposition to Donald Trump's firings, and do you want to be?
Well, absolutely do not want to be.
You're here in court on you being fired,
right,
and also fighting
right.
on behalf of.
But that's why I said this isn't personal for me. I just felt an obligation to do my job in accordance with law. And the law said that I can't be fired for no reason. And my position has been around for 50 years. And I just didn't feel like on my watch that I could walk away based on an email from someone who doesn't know me, who doesn't know my record. And I think my record's has been very public, and I'll stand on my record. But for me to have accepted an email firing that didn't even purport to have a basis would be me not following the law. So again, I want every president to succeed because that's what is best for America. But what we have is a system of laws. We only have a president because of the supreme rule book that is the Constitution. So if we aren't following the law, what are we doing? What are we?
So at the beginning of this, you said that you'll follow whatever the courts decide.
I will.
The administration in court today said that this court has no authority to let you keep your job. That was one of their arguments, and also that they did not want to give this judge at the trial court level the time to write an opinion today. Are we in a constitutional crisis, or are we headed for one with your case?
I'll leave it to the courts to decide what their authority is, and I will accept what they decide. So I'll leave it at that. You know, I'm someone just trying to do my job as best I can, and I feel like I've been doing it satisfactorily for the past year. I've worked with every member of Congress I possibly could. I got into office, one of the first things I did was to work with Senator Cruz's office to make sure that the victims and survivors of sexual assault in the Coast Guard weren't silenced. I've worked with Senator Grassley's office, Senator Wyden. The judge talked about the bipartisan whistleblower caucus. I feel like in many ways, you know, I'm a key part of that bipartisan work to protect whistleblowers. So I'll leave the speculation about what it all means to others. I just want to do my job, and that's what I'm getting ready to go do.
Can you talk about the broader impact would be on government employees and whistleblowers if courts do rule against you?
Well, as I said before, I think it's really important that my position and my agency be independent. That's what gives whistleblowers the confidence that they can come to us, and that's the system Congress created. That's the legal system. That's what I'm going to follow. All right. I've got the opportunity to go back to work. I'm really grateful for it, and that's what I'm going to do. Thank you.